Welcome to Star Watch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Have you ever wondered what happens when a superstar dares to challenge the system that built him? When success comes at the price of freedom, what would you choose? Today, we're diving into the story shaking the Chinese entertainment world. Wang Yibo's contract renewal controversy. A story not just about fame, but about courage, integrity, and the power to redefine what it means to be an artist in the modern era. Stay until the end, because what you'll hear might just change how you see the entertainment industry forever. In 2014, a young Wang Yibo stood on the edge of a dream. He was barely out of his teenage years, living in cramped dormitories, surviving on instant noodles and relentless rehearsals. His eyes carried both exhaustion and fire, the kind that only comes from someone determined to carve a name for himself in a world that didn't even know he existed. That year, he signed with Lehua Entertainment, one of the biggest talent agencies in China, believing it was the first step toward a brighter future. For a boy who had left home to chase a passion for performance, the signature on that contract symbolized hope, belonging, and a promise that hard work would be rewarded. But the industry is not a fairy tale. The same pen that opened doors also built invisible walls. The life of a trainee was one of discipline and sacrifice. Long hours, strict diets, constant evaluations, and the unspoken fear that one misstep could send everything crashing down. Wang Yibo endured it all. He fell, failed, and rose again, each time stronger, each time quieter, learning that silence sometimes speaks louder than complaint. For him, success was never about fame or luxury. It was about survival, proving even to himself that he belonged on the stage. As years passed, the name that once meant nothing began to echo across Asia. He was no longer the faceless dancer in the background, but a rising phenomenon. Television dramas, variety shows, live performances, everything he touched turned into a talking point. Yet behind every dazzling spotlight was a deeper truth. The contract he had signed years ago still defined the limits of his freedom. The same agreement that had given him his start now dictated his every move. There's a quiet irony in watching a man become larger than the system that once controlled him. The calm before the storm was not silence. It was the sound of transformation, of a young artist slowly realizing his own power. Wang Yibo's story before the controversy is not one of rebellion, but of awakening. It's the story of someone who built his wings inside a cage, preparing for the moment he would finally decide to fly. Behind the glittering surface of fame, there often lies a paper cage, one lined with ink, signatures, and promises that rarely favor the dreamer. For Wang Yibo, that cage was hidden within a single line of legal text, buried deep inside the contract he had signed a decade earlier. It was called the automatic renewal clause. On paper, it sounded harmless. If an artist still had unfinished work when the contract expired, the agreement would automatically renew for another year. Yet, in practice, it was a loop with no clear ending, a system that could bind an artist indefinitely under the illusion of professional continuity. Imagine living your life knowing that no matter how hard you work, how many films you complete, or how many goals you achieve, there will always be another project waiting to keep you tethered. Each success becomes a reason to stay, and every opportunity, a chain disguised as progress. That is the silent cruelty of the hidden clause. It feeds on ambition. The more you strive, the deeper you sink. When this detail surfaced, the internet erupted. Fans argued fiercely across social media platforms, torn between loyalty and concern. Some believed Lehua had nurtured Wang Yibo and deserved his continued partnership. Others insisted he had outgrown the agency and earned the right to decide his own path. It was a digital battlefield filled with speculation, emotional outbursts, and passionate defenses. But beyond the noise lay something more profound, a reflection of the entertainment industry itself, where talent and capital dance in uneasy rhythm, and freedom is often the first casualty of success. For Wang Yibo, the controversy was not merely about whether to stay or leave. It was about confronting the invisible architecture of control that governs so many artists' lives. It forced him, and his audience, to question the price of achievement in a world where every signature carries both opportunity and consequence. The hidden clause became a symbol, not of greed or betrayal, but of awakening. It revealed the uncomfortable truth that even the brightest stars can be bound by shadows, and that true freedom begins not with breaking the contract, but with daring to imagine a life beyond it. This was never just a dispute over a piece of paper. It was a question of identity, power, and the meaning of artistry itself. The contract that tied Wang Yibo to Lehua was only the surface of a much larger struggle, one between the machinery of entertainment and the soul of the performer. In China's entertainment ecosystem, agencies don't merely manage talent. They manufacture it. They decide what an artist should wear, how they should smile, what they should say, and even who they should befriend. For many, the company becomes both creator and cage, the architect of their success and the warden of their limitations. Wang Yibo's rise to stardom is a remarkable example of that paradox. He was molded by the system, but he also defied it. While others followed the expected path of variety shows and predictable roles, he carved his own, performing high-risk stunts, training as a professional racer, and exploring acting with quiet intensity. His choices spoke volumes about his character, an artist who refused to be reduced to a market product. Each discipline he pursued added another layer to his identity, shaping him into something the system couldn't quite categorize. That made him both valuable and dangerous. As his fame grew, so did the tension between creative freedom and corporate control. For Lehua, he was not just an artist. He was an empire of endorsements, a brand capable of moving millions of dollars with a single appearance. For Wang Yibo, however, success had become a double-edged sword. The higher he climbed, the more aware he became of the invisible strings guiding his every move. It wasn't greed or rebellion that made him question the system, it was self-realization. The desire to choose his own roles, his own rhythm, his own future. What this controversy truly represents is an awakening, a moment when the artist looks at the system that made him and asks, "Who am I beyond what they built?" For Wang Yibo, the answer lies in reclaiming authorship of his story. Because a contract can define work, but it cannot define worth. It can govern obligations, but never spirit. The real battle was not between him and the company, but between conformity and authenticity, between being a brand and being a human being. Zoom out for a moment. Across industries, sports, film, music, this same tension exists. Think of Messi leaving Barcelona or James Harden switching teams. When stars move, it's never just business. It's emotion, identity, and belief colliding in public view. The same applies here. For Wang Yibo, the question isn't should I stay or go? It's what kind of artist do I want to be next? He's 28 now, mature, self-aware, and powerful enough to choose. Maybe the real success isn't about staying under one label, but about daring to walk into the unknown on his own terms. The entertainment world is changing faster than ever. Live streams, independent studios, global collaborations. Artists no longer need to depend entirely on agencies. New media has shifted power from corporations to creators. And Wang Yibo? He's already playing in that new field. His brand deals, sports achievements, and documentaries prove he's more than a product. He's a self-sustaining phenomenon. Maybe this is what scares the old system most. A star who no longer needs to be owned. But beyond the headlines and hashtags, there's something more human here. This is a story about growth, about a young man who learned that loyalty doesn't mean submission, and success doesn't mean silence. Every fan watching this has faced a similar question in life. When you've outgrown your old world, do you stay where it's safe? Or do you step into the risk to become who you're truly meant to be? That's why people resonate with Wang Yibo. He represents every dreamer who refuses to be defined by others. No matter what happens next, renewal or independence, one thing is clear. Wang Yibo has already rewritten the rulebook. His name stands not just for talent, but for transformation. He's not fighting against a company. He's fighting for the right to choose his path. And in doing so, he's giving every young artist, every fan, permission to believe that freedom is worth the risk. If you felt inspired by this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Nine Dragon. Your support helps us bring more stories that reveal the truth, the passion, and the human heart behind every headline. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, stay inspired, and we'll see you in the next episode.